Good day, gentlemen. Here are the two main problems us men struggle with when it comes to hard conversations in a relationship. Number one, fear of conflict, which leads to pretending we're fine, which leads to resentment, which leads to the second main problem, letting conflict escalate because we've bottled it up for too long, which leads to more fear of starting conflict. This is a vicious cycle that most men are stuck in because they've learned to bottle things up. I was the exact same way, and that would often come with me hurting my girl unintentionally, which always came with this looming sense of regret because I know that I could do better. And then I learned about this simple yet powerful framework about having difficult conversations. And this is one of the key reasons for why me and my girl have been able to build such a profound, meaningful, deep 7-year relationship. After I quickly break this down, I will go into this with more detail, and I will also give you a real-life example of how me and my girl have used this in an actual conversation that we've had. And I also recommend that you take some notes if you're not here to just waste your time. So here we go. Number one, prepare, but don't over-prepare. Number two, easy entry with no return. Number three, reassure, reassure, reassure. Number four, see the truth behind her words. And number five, revisit the topic. Before I go into this deeper, please understand that none of this came natural to me at all. I was always very afraid of having difficult conversations because I was afraid of disrupting our connection or of her thinking badly of me, thinking poorly of me. You're afraid of starting conflict because you've made the experience throughout your whole life that conflict will disrupt connection with the people that you have that conflict with. Here's the thing. You and those people just didn't know how to have conflict effectively. By the way, you should do a push-up every time I say conflict. You'd be jacked by the end of this video. Your needs and wants in a relationship are valid, yet by pretending you're fine, you will never have them met. And by letting conflict escalate, you can never be sure whether your woman actually wants to help you or not. Because, well, if you shout at her, chances are she will shout back at you or shut down or resent you, even if that's not her normal style of communicating. Couple more things before we get into the framework deeply. Let's examine the word conflict for a second. What does conflict even mean? It means that two or more people have conflicting ideas or opinions or behaviors. So really that means that conflict is always there, right? Because you're never the same person. You never have 100% of the same behaviors or the same ideas or the same opinions or whatever else. And so that means that conflict really is there always until you address it. Conflict, if brought to the light and untangled, is actually very healing and very connecting for us in a relationship long term. Avoiding conflict by pretending you're fine leads to the exact opposite, leads to resentment long term. And you already knew that because you've experienced it already. What you're not yet aware of is that whenever there is some kind of conflict in your own head that you're not expressing, where you're pretending you're fine, your woman knows that something is wrong. She can feel that. That's feminine intuition for you. That's why in those moments when you feel off, when you feel like you should maybe address something but you're scared to do it, she will continually ask you, how are you doing? What are you thinking about? All that stuff. She rarely ever does that when she knows that everything is perfectly fine, right? Now that that's out of the way, let's go deep now. I'll explain every step of this framework and I'll tell you how I applied it to a very difficult conversation that I had a couple months ago with my girl, where I essentially had to tell her that she was disrupting my peace with her negativity and with her non-action. I hope that you never have to have this conversation with your girl, because while it was necessary for me to talk about this with her, it was also heartbreaking to tell this kind, loving, beautiful girl of mine that she's disrupting my peace, because usually she's doing the exact opposite. So step number one, prepare but don't over-prepare. People think, especially men think, that they should just be able to freestyle a difficult conversation with their girlfriend. And I partly agree, but I love this frame about preparation from the entrepreneur Alex Hormozi, who is worth a couple $100 million by age, I don't know, like mid-30s, something like that. And he's very effective in his work, right? And trust me, he's a good enough speaker to not have to prepare for the book launch that he recently did, for example. But he says that he can justify spending a lot of time on that presentation for that book launch, on preparing that, because it's important to him. And so he can justify that because there's going to be whatever 500,000 people watching that live. So yes, Hormozi can do this freestyle, but he still prepares. Bro, the fog. Holy shit. I just looked back because the sun came further up. This looks fucking epic. Damn. I'm loving these sunrise shoots right now. So cool. Anyway, Hormozi is a good speaker, yet he thinks humbly and logically. And so he prepares because it's important to him. And so if those conversations are important to you, if your relationship is important to you, then why the fuck would you not prepare? And like I said, don't over-prepare. What I mean with this is only prepare the first couple sentences, because you can't plan how the conversation will evolve from there. In the situation that I was in with my girl, I honestly asked a friend and mentor of mine whether he could help me prepare for this conversation, and he did. And so I defined exactly what the problem was, what I was actually not happy with, through journaling and through talking with him. And then from there, I simply let the conversation flow. But I had the first couple sentences written down, and I also practiced saying those and practiced getting them across well, because that just takes away stage fright as well, right? If you're nervous before conversations like this, but you have practiced this, well, cool, then you can just do it. You've done it 10 times. This is the same thing as some pro athlete training for a game. I've read this book called Relentless by Tim Grover, who was an athletic coach who his first ever client was Michael Jordan. Like, that's the level this guy is on, right? And he would always tell his athletes, like, hey, you've done this shot 1,000,000 fucking times in practice, which is great. So now you go out on the field and you don't think, you just do. This frame, don't think, just do. You can only do that when you've already prepared for it. And I know this sounds corny to practice saying this, whatever, but it works magically. Chris Williamson's most famous quote, right? The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. This preparation is what you've been avoiding, and that's why you haven't had great conversations or great difficult conversations with your girlfriend. Step number 2 is a fucking cheat code that I actually came up with myself because I was so afraid of starting these difficult conversations. And so I thought, well, if I'm afraid of starting them, maybe I just shouldn't start them. Maybe I should just give myself, step number 2, an easy entry with no return. Here's what I mean. Imagine you casually ask your woman when she's free to have a conversation because there's this topic that you want to talk about with her, and you don't even mention the topic yet. Because this is easy to do, right? But then she will be curious and she will be like, yeah, sure, like I'm free at this time, whatever, or I'm free right now. Let's have this conversation. And that is easy to say, right? That first sentence, like, hey, let's have a conversation about something. When are you free? That's very easy to say. But it gets you past a point of no return, because then she's curious, so then you have to have that conversation with her. You've burned the boats, effectively. This is the easiest way to start these difficult conversations, and because you've already prepared the next few sentences, those will be easy as well. In my case, in the situation that I was in with my girl, right, we were on long distance during that time. So I just sent her a voice note saying, hey, there's a topic I want to talk about. When are you free to have a phone call? She takes me back. We hopped on that phone call, right? And in that voice note, I also already I already did something that we'll talk about in step 3, which is I reassured her, which is I told her, hey, I want to have this conversation because I believe it will make our relationship better. It's already great, but I believe we can go even deeper. So, number 3, reassure, reassure, reassure. Never start a difficult conversation with your woman without first reassuring her that the only reason you're having this conversation with her is because you love her and because you want to build a deeper relationship with her. Quick disclaimer, if you know that your woman has an avoidant attachment style, then just basically tell her that you're having this conversation so that you're able to give her the space she needs and to meet her needs and to help her heal her attachment style by giving her that space, by meeting her needs that are absolutely also valid needs, right? Here's the thing. I won't go too deep into this because that would just make this video unnecessarily long, but for me and my girl, she's very secure, and so I would basically just tell her at the start and throughout this conversation that I love her and reassure her by telling her that we'll figure this out together. Step number 4, see the truth behind her words. This is very difficult. I'll be honest, this is, in my opinion, the most difficult one out of all of this, because she might get upset throughout this conversation, and that's okay. That is valid, right? As long as you don't let that get to your head, as long as you don't take it personal, as long as you don't let it get you off your path. Because the feminine can be chaotic, can be hurtful, can be emotionally challenging to say the least, but a maturely masculine man can cut through that. He can see the truth of what's actually happening, and he doesn't take it personal, and he loves her regardless, because he sees in those moments that he's not talking with his woman, but rather with the hurt young girl inside of his woman. And so his fatherly instincts kick in, and he simply loves her regardless. It's this image of the man just standing there and the woman being upset and just crying and shouting and maybe even pounding his chest with her fists. And he's just standing there, loving her, hugging her, pulling her close towards him. I don't need to explain this much because, of course, like over the phone during long distances was a bit difficult, but nonetheless, this is absolutely possible. You can, again, reassure her and love her regardless, even if she gets upset, even if she thinks that this is unfair or whatever else, you can still love her regardless. And this is also the only way that she will ever see that your intentions are good. Step number 5, revisit the topic, because especially important topics won't be a one and done. That's a promise. You can't solve these things at once, because both of you will continue having new ideas or new questions about this topic throughout the next couple days after the first conversation. I love this quote that I recently heard from this guy named Daniel Dalen. He's an entrepreneur, and he quoted Lao Tzu, who said something along the lines of, "Do you have the patience until the mud settles?" Now, Daniel, he used this in a business context, but it fits perfectly here, because when you have that first conversation, before that, your relationship is a clear puddle. But then you have that first conversation and you will stir up that puddle. So the water will become muddy. And every time you revisit that topic with your girl over the next couple hours or days, every time you clear up more and more of those questions or ideas that you have about it, and you talk about those things, you clear up that water more and more until you feel fully connected again. For my situation, my girl addressed a couple things that maybe I didn't say perfectly well and that maybe hurt her, but she didn't want to bring them up in the moment, so she brought them up later. And also, both of us over the next couple days had many more ideas on how we can actually solve this better and on how we can improve this. And so we had multiple follow-up conversations, and now this isn't a problem at all anymore, like zero. And if it ever became a problem again, well, then we could just go back to what we had already learned and build on top of that. Now, if you took notes, fantastic, congratulations. If you didn't, well, let me have the satisfaction of telling you I told you so, dumbass. Anyway, maybe go back and watch it, right? Thing is this, there's one more thing I want to talk about. Some people will comment on this video, "Oh, but my girl also has to do her part. She also has to do her part, blah, 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 blah." No shit, Sherlock. Of course she has to do her part. But let me ask you this. Why do most men, who always blame their woman for not showing up, for not doing her part, why do those men always end up in relationships with women who never change, who never do their part? I truly wonder why that is. Can't be because that man isn't doing his part, right? Can't be because he's only blaming his woman for stuff. Now, honestly, I just wanted to have a little fun here. And I know that you're not that kind of man. I know that you want to take responsibility, that you want to work on yourself, that you want to control your destiny. And you realize that while you can't change your woman, you can influence her through your own growth. But you might not know what to do to make that change. Or maybe you even know it, but you don't have the courage yet to actually do it. If that's you, and you are a hardworking man, then I want to offer you my help. Because I've already helped a bunch of driven men who were at a point very similar to yours, and I've helped them get to this point where their relationship was so fulfilling, so meaningful, so deep, where they felt at peace and they felt trusted by their woman, and they were able to love their woman in a way that just made her giggly and joyful and radiant. What I offered these men, and what I'm also going to offer to you right now, is a free alignment call with me. This is not a free coaching call. My time is too limited for that these days, and I'm not here to give people some bullshit free advice for 60 minutes. I'm here to help people make a true transformation. And so if you're interested in potentially working with me long term to actually take yourself to a level where you become the man who can truly build the relationship that you've always wanted, then what you can do is you can click the link in the description of this video. It will take you to a page where you fill out an application form. These are 6 questions, takes 2 minutes to fill out. You do that, and then if your application goes through, if it's valid essentially, then you will automatically be able to schedule that free alignment call with me right then and there. You just select the date, you select the time, simple as that, and this might mean now, you could literally be talking to me in a couple hours from now if my calendar is free. If my calendar isn't free today, it will be free over the next couple days, and you will be able to schedule a call there. So if you didn't just watch this video for entertainment, but you're actually serious about taking yourself to that next level and either transforming your current relationship or building a great relationship from scratch, then man, stop procrastinating. Get the help you want to get. Click that link right now, fill out the application, book that call with me, and then I'll talk to you very, very soon and help you out here. See you then. Have a great day.